There is no thinker, only thinking. This is one of the profound statements which was made by J. Krishnamurti, one of the greatest teachers of the century. Today, we will understand the nature of thought and the nature of thinking. And through this understanding, we will get to the essence of Adhvaitha Vedanta and uncover the nature of reality itself. I believe if we begin to understand the nature of mind and what exactly it is, we can take control of our own life and we can transcend this reality itself. So let us go deep into the nature of thought and the nature of thinking in this video. The Adhvaitha channel is about consciousness and conscious creation. Here we explore Vedanta and various other ancient teachings from India to understand the nature of reality and to consciously create our lives. At first, I will read a few paragraphs from J. Krishnamurti's lecture, and later we will understand it and we will understand the nature of thought in a greater detail. Thought is the response of the accumulated memory as knowledge, as experience, whether it is yours or inherited, the communal experience, and so on. So, thought is the response of the past, which may project itself into the future, going through the present, modifying it as the future, but it is still the past. So, thought is never free. How can it be? It can imagine what is freedom, it can idealize what freedom should be, create a utopia of freedom, but thought itself, in itself, is of the past, and therefore it is not free. It is always old. Thought organizes our life based on the past. That thought, based on the past, projects what should be tomorrow, and so there is conflict. Like this, JK goes on in his lecture, but I think you get the point here. What he's telling us is that thought by its nature is old. Whatever thought you get, it can never be a fresh thought. It can never be something which is absolutely new, because a thought or a vritti comes from the place of conditioning. Even Swami Vivekananda speaks of this. We have accumulated memory that is called karma, which has given rise to the vasanas. These are deep-seated tendencies which is embedded within us, through which we think different thoughts and we perform different actions. While explaining the nature of thought, what JK is telling here is that a thought, whatever it is, comes from past. Even when we think about the future, even a thought of our future is actually a thought of the past which is modifying itself. We are discussing this because it is important for us to understand the nature of thought in order to attain absolute fulfillment and freedom. What JK here is telling us is that when we are associated with a thought and when we are indulged in thinking throughout the day, we can never be free, because thought represents bondage. Thought represents conditioning. As long as we are unconscious, we can never be truly free. In order to be free, we need to wake up and we need to go beyond the thought. And JK also speaks about how there is no thinker but only thinking. This is a very profound statement. If we examine this, we will begin to grasp the nature of reality itself. What he is basically telling us is that you are not who you think you are. Most of us identify ourselves as this personality, as this body-mind complex. And mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. And whenever there is a thought, there is a thinker. But when there is no thought, there is no thinker. So if there is no thinker when there is no thought, then I cannot be the thinker, because I always exist. Just because there is an absence of thought, it doesn't mean that I do not exist. It just means that the thinker doesn't exist. So I am not the thinker. This is what even the ancient Advaita Vedanta says. Advaita Vedanta says that you are not your body, you are not your mind. In a previous video, we looked at the Shariratraya Viveka, where we discussed this in a greater detail. There we understood that we are not this physical body, we are not this Sukshma Sharira or the subtle body, and eventually we get to the Karana Sharira or the causal body. Once we go beyond that, we attain our true nature, that is the infinite consciousness and the infinite bliss. JK is pointing towards this reality. He is saying that a thought comes from the place of conditioning, and to be free, we need to be free of thought. And also, a thinker only exists when there is a thought or when there is a conditioned thought. And he also says that a thinker exists when thinking exists. When there is conditioned thinking, there is a thinker. This is the ego. This is what we must break free of. This is what is keeping us in bondage. When there is no thinking, there is no thinker also. In yoga, this is called as samadhi. And the Patanjali Yoga Sutras start with this. They say yogas chitta vritti nirodha, which means yoga causes the cessation of the modification of the mind, which basically means yoga will calm the mind and make it still. When the mind is absolutely still and when there is no vritti or when there is no thought, there is also no thinker. And when there is no thinker, there is just that pure witness, which is that infinite consciousness which we are in our essence. The only problem with society right now and all of us right now is our mind. Our mind is holding us back. Our mind is a barrier between our true nature, the infinite consciousness which can give us absolute fulfillment, freedom, and abundance. And the first step that we need to take is to understand this knowledge. Vedanta says Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. These are the three steps a seeker must take in order to achieve that absolute fulfillment. Shravana is about listening to and studying this information. Manana is about the thorough understanding of this knowledge. And Nididhyasana is about meditating upon this and actually living it as much as possible. When we go through this process, we eventually transcend the ego and realize our true nature. And within another lecture, JK goes on to say, any movement of any kind on the part of the mind only gives strength to the continuance of thought, which with its envious, ambitious, acquisitive pursuits. When the mind is totally aware of this fact, it is totally aware of a poisonous snake. Then you will see that the movement of thought comes to an end. Then only is there a total revolution, not the continuance of the old in the different form. This state is not to be described. He who describes it is not aware of it. Here he is talking about the nature of that absolute state that one reaches once he transcends mind and thought. And this is the ultimate goal for each and every one of us. And if you want to go deeper into these teachings, if you want to go deeper into Vedanta and conscious creation, to consciously create a life of fulfillment and abundance and live a life that you actually want to live, then you can join us in the Adhvaitha Conscious Society. This is a community of like-minded individuals, and here there are advanced programs and learning opportunities. And I think you already understand the power of a community and satsang when it comes to progressing spiritually and consciously creating our life. So if you are interested in this, you can check out the link in the description to join the community. Or if you want to know more about the Adhvaitha Conscious Society, you can attend our free masterclass, The Conscious Creation Paradigm. Thank you. Check out this video next on the Conscious Creation Code, where we will go deeper into conscious creation and the framework to make it work. I will see you on the next one. Subscribe to Adhvaitha to wake up. Shivoham.